We share everything online, right? Photos, where we are, our jobs, our friends. It's like we're all writing this huge public diary without even really thinking about it. But have you ever stopped to wonder who might be reading it? All right, seriously, think about your own profile for a sec. It obviously shows your friends, maybe your family, where you work, maybe even that you're on vacation right now. The truth is, it's probably telling a much, much bigger story than you realize. And this is where we get to the main event, open source intelligence, or OSINT for short. Now, let's get one thing straight. Open source here has nothing to do with open source software. It just means information that is publicly and legally out there for anyone to find. No hacking, no secret spy stuff, just looking at what's already in plain sight. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll break down what OSINT really is, who's actually using it, and the step-by-step process they follow. We're also going to explore the hidden parts of the internet where this data lives, and finally, we'll get into why this whole thing is a massive double-edged sword. Let's kick things off with the basics. This idea of gathering intelligence from public stuff isn't new at all. But what has changed, and I mean dramatically, is the sheer scale of it all. Think about it. Before the web, spies and analysts were digging through actual newspapers, listening to radio broadcasts, reading academic papers. But then the internet happened, and suddenly the main source of OSINT went digital, creating this enormous ocean of data that's growing every single second. Okay, so if all of this information is just floating around out there, who's actually bothering to collect and analyze it? Well, the answer might surprise you. It's definitely not just spies in trench coats. The list of who uses OSINT is, well, it's huge. You've got the obvious players, of course, governments, law enforcement, security services. But then you have businesses using it for market research. On the flip side, you've got criminals and hackers using it to find their next target. And hey, even regular people like you and me might use it maybe to see if our own data has been leaked somewhere online. So grabbing all this data is one thing, but turning these mountains of raw, messy information into something genuinely useful, that's a whole other story. It's not just random Googling, it's a very specific, methodical process. And this cycle is how it's done. First step is collection, which is pretty self-explanatory. You're just gathering all that raw data. Then comes processing, where you get it all organized, maybe translate it, and get it ready for the next step. The third stage is exploitation, which sounds intense, but it really just means analysis. This is the key part where you actually find the important nuggets of information. And finally, you have production, where you package up those insights and get them to the people who need them. So where does all this data actually come from? When we think of online, most of us just think of Google. But the part of the web that search engines can see, that's just the tiny, tiny tip of a colossal iceberg. Get ready for this. The surface web, that's everything you can find on Google, Bing, you name it, makes up only about 4% of the entire web. Just 4%. Kind of makes you wonder, where is the other 96%? It's in something called the deep web, which is estimated to be about 500 times bigger than the surface web we all know. And that is where a massive amount of OSINT data is hiding. And this slide breaks down the difference perfectly, because this is where people get confused. Both the surface and deep web can be reached with a normal browser. The deep web is just stuff that isn't indexed. Think library databases, your online bank account, things behind a login. The dark web, though, that's different. It's built to be hidden and anonymous, and you need special software like Tor to even get in. And to navigate this gigantic information landscape, there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of specialized tools. I mean, just look at this. This is just a small sample. There are tools for everything, from analyzing social media posts to tracking packages around the globe. It's wild. So all of this brings us to the real tension at the heart of OSINT. Because on one hand, it's an incredibly powerful force for good. But on the other, it opens up some really serious challenges and tricky ethical questions. The good stuff is pretty obvious. Compared to old school spying, OSINT is way less risky. It's a lot cheaper, and it's all legal. It's a super efficient way to fight all sorts of crime, from financial fraud to stopping counterfeit goods from being sold online. But, and it's a big but, the challenges are just as huge. First off, the sheer volume of data is just overwhelming. Then you have the biggest question of all. Is this source telling the truth, or is it just misinformation? And even with all the fancy tools, at the end of the day, a human analyst has to check the work, which opens up a whole can of worms when it comes to ethics. This quote from one of our sources just nails the dilemma. Let's say an investigator finds a criminal's password in a public data breach. If they use it to log in and find evidence, is that good police work, or is it breaking the law? The legal lines here are incredibly blurry. And that leaves us with this final, crucial question. In a world where more and more of our lives are lived out in the open, the power of OSINT is only going to grow. The real challenge for all of us is figuring out where to draw the line. Where does public information end and private intrusion begin? And who gets to decide?